watching the Urban Debate in Mirror. Now, I'm Faye. Thank you for joining us. There's a very important thing we have to discuss. Right now, viewers, we know that the two biggest political parties in the country are currently accusing each other of using leaked data to brainwash us. There's a reason why we need to pay attention. Not because we need to know which political party is doing it, but because we need to know when we're being lied to. We need to know when we are being manipulated and when we are being brainwashed. Over the next 2 hours on Mirror Now, we're going to spend time understanding what this data leak or what's being called a data theft or data manipulation is. You and I are on Facebook. What is this data that they're stealing from us? And how are they using it to change an election verdict? How does that happen in India? And who's behind all of this? That is the question we're going to ask and we're going to answer over the next 2 hours. Phone lines are open and the whole idea is to have a conversation to find out what on earth is going on. I'm going to start by explaining what the data leak is or what this data is. When you sign on Facebook, Facebook asks you for permission to access your data. You enter details like what your relationship status is. You enter details like where you study, where you grew up, where you were born, what year you went to college, where you went to school, and enter and link your parents and your family. You then spend time on Facebook looking at videos, clicking on articles and reading things, commenting on things. As a result, Facebook now knows who you are, how old you are, who you live with, where you shop, what you like to buy, whether you're into fitness or are you into food. Are you into South Indian food or North Indian food? Are you right-leaning or left-leaning? Facebook also sends you, as you know, these regular options for quizzes. Find out what you will look like in the next 20 years. Which cartoon character is most like you? What Hollywood movie star do you look like? Every time you click on one of those apps, it asks you for permission to access your data. And it also asks you for permission to access your friends' data. You've clicked, you've taken a course to find out which Harry Potter character you're most likely to be. But now that third-party vendor has all of your data. And what sort of data does it have? Who are you? Where do you live? What do you like to shop for? Where do you like to travel? How do you travel? How often do you go out of town? Where do you like to take a holiday? How do you feel about Syria, about Kashmir? How do you feel about what's going on in our country? How do you feel about Aadhaar? How do you feel about GST? How do you feel about the latest Shah Rukh Khan film? That third-party vendor now knows everything. And Facebook has, through Mark Zuckerberg, its founder, accepted today that these third-party vendors were selling this information to companies like Cambridge Analytica. Companies who are using the information to then target advertise to you. So, for example, if they found out that you're really into fitness, they would send you an advertisement for a fitness band, or for shoes, or for something else that would keep you fit. If they found out that you're really into food, they would send you offers from restaurants. But here's where it gets complicated and grey. What happens when that data has been sold to a political party or a politician who then uses it to target advertise you before an election? Is that happening in India? That's the question we're asking. Let's take it for granted, viewers, that if you're on Facebook today, your data, the most personal data, is everywhere. Everybody's seen it, everybody's sold it, everybody's bought it. But is it in the wrong hands? And what can the wrong hands do with that data? That's what we're going to answer. Joining me on the show today, Ritesh Bhatia, cybersecurity expert, Mukesh Sharma, CEO of Cryptomize. He's an ethical hacker. Abhimanyu Radhakrishnan is a technology journalist. Govindraj Ethiraj is a senior journalist and the founder of factchecker.in. This is a very, very important voice today. Srinivasan Kodali is a co-founder of Technology Lead OpenStats. Vineet Goenka is with the BJP, also was the former co-convener of the BJP Media Cell, IT Cell, also an important voice. Shama Mohammed with the Congress Party. Nikhil Pawar, editor of Medianama, will also join us through the course of the conversation on Skype. He's in New York, from what I understand. Opening statements by everybody. I'm going to start with Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu, if you could just explain to us, and here's my question. We know how the data is being mined out of Facebook and what sort of data is being bought and sold about us. How is that data, how can that data be used to brainwash citizens? Or can it be used at all? Abhimanyu.
It can be used for a number of things. Brainwashing is at the top of everybody's mind right now because of the political implications in the US election. There's an ongoing investigation. We are probably just seeing the tip of the iceberg. The broader problem is that, this whole business model that Silicon Valley has developed over the last 10 years of basically mining your data and, giving you the product or the service free, whereby technically you become the product. It's essentially sort of just let the dam burst before there's any chance for it to be plugged, because now an entire generation of people using the internet have just got used to the idea of getting things free and being quite easy and playing sort of fast and free with their data. I mean, how many of us actually read those onerous terms and conditions, scroll all the way to the bottom, go through them, understand the implications? 99.99% of us just click accept. Facebook, after all, is a product of 2007, 2006, that period of time, the pre-smartphone era when it first came to prominence. In the smartphone era, every app that you give permission to, basically has access to almost all of your hardware. It can use it for things that it doesn't intend to. Later, if somebody buys it out, they can use it for something else. I'll get to specifics as we go through this long debate because it's a long night. But essentially, my contention is that, till the model is fixed, it's going to be very hard for
No, but Abhimanyu, you're not answering, you're not specifically answering my question. My question.
But the people will game these 15 steps.
My question is specifically the accusation that is being made right now, specifically by the BJP onto the Congress, is that you've misused the data to try and rig or fix or, change the outcome of an election. How can that be done? Is that possible? How can it be done?
Well, we've seen definitely, at least in the American context, it's possible. I don't know if we've seen very specific evidence that it was done here, but the circumstantial evidence does seem to suggest that, the ruling party has had the upper hand as far as that information warfare is concerned. It's a combination of things, right? Lots of so-called fake accounts or bots that we call them, a lot of coordinated activity, sharing of posts, not just fake news, but even the borderline stuff that is sort of part propaganda, part truth, but very hard to differentiate from very hard truth. So it could be an accurate video, but just morphed with a little bit of strategic audio in different places. And then, of course, shared with lightning speed at massive scale, because you know that even though the truth will eventually seep through, it will be too little too late, and you've already sort of got some sort of a frenzy going, especially if it's just on the eve of polls, because people always remember the controversy. They tend to not remember the clarification that came later, right? So, the propaganda is definitely there. It's possibly going to be there from both sides. We shouldn't blame one side just because they've been faster at it. It's just like, if you're blaming Trump today about using data badly, do remember that Barack Obama, when he came to power, he had one of the Facebook co-founders, Chris Hughes, on his original campaign team back in 2008. So everybody is going to do it. Let's not point fingers at one party just because they're better at doing it. I would just say that it would be laughable to suggest that, it's not being manipulated in the true sense of the word. How exactly, whether it's legal or whether it's any different from the propaganda and information warfares of different times, it's definitely at a much quicker and faster scale. I think that's something that we'll probably find some
let me bring in Ritesh Bhatia here. Ritesh, my question is the same thing here. Let's assume there is a political party that now has all of my data. I know how a shoe brand that sells, say, fitness shoes would be able to micro-target someone who's into fitness.
Absolutely.
How would a political party be able to use that information?
So what a political party does is, using all these data analytics and data mining, they try to show up certain ads, certain pages or certain posts. You go and click, let's say you say you like this. Now they will try to show you another post which is to demean the opposite party. Now you will make some comment, yeah, so true, and you would want to share. So this shows your inclination towards one party or the other. So this way they tend to show up a lot of news. Now once they know that, okay, this guy is pro this particular party, now it is all about convincing this guy just to keep sharing. So they will throw up more and more posts. And once they see, okay, I am like sharing it, I am liking it, they would want to do it more and more to me. With this, what happens is, okay, they have got one free volunteer. I mean, they got a volunteer to do it.
Can they change my opinion about something?
Yes, because how it is, now, if 10 times I say that this is black, or 10 people tell you this is black, this is black, this is black, you will actually start wondering, yeah, this is black.
Maybe it is.
So when you're online, honestly, you really, you're kind of hypnotized. Brainwashing is easiest when you're online. You are like, you really are not so much in your senses because, you're multitasking, you're clicking here and there. And, there are these people, and it's just not the social media. Let's also consider WhatsApp, where there are so many forwards come to you. You tend to read some and then you say, yeah, this could be true when it is coming from 10 people. So you start forwarding it.
So you're saying, okay,
influencing is very easy on social media.
So for viewers watching right now, what Ritesh and Abhimanyu are effectively telling us is that while you get articles and notes on Facebook and on WhatsApp or on Twitter, a lot of that could be false. A lot of that is being sent specifically to you to change your mind or to change your political stance. A lot of that is being sent to you to brainwash you. Govindraj Etiraj is a very senior journalist. He's the founder of factchecker.in. Govind, when you look at the articles being shared on Twitter and on WhatsApp, how often does it turn out to be false? How worried should the average Indian citizen be about stuff that they're receiving on either Facebook or on WhatsApp?
By one of your panelists. The Facebook is one platform, it's a large platform, and we've all signed, not me because I'm not on Facebook, but we've all signed a sort of social contract with platforms or social media outlets like Facebook. When we sign up, we want to post our pictures, family pictures, playing on the beach on Sentosa Island. We want to show how good we look or the happy moments in our life. So, and all of this is going to come at a cost. And I think Abhimanyu pointed that out already, that we've been doing this steadily for the last 10 years. And the cost is really all these companies now trying to figure out how they can monetize it. Now, where is that monetization going to reap the maximum dividend, so to speak? My understanding now, as I see things happening, is that it's going to be pretty high when there is a political contest involved. Obviously, on a continuous basis, there is monetization capability for products, for services, for marketeers and so on. But when a political contest comes up, then the stakes suddenly get bigger. And we're obviously seeing that in India as well, and we've seen that happen in the past. That's one part. Second is the collecting the information, mining it, scrubbing it, washing it, is the first part of it, right? And in 2014, the BJP did that pretty well. I don't think they did anything wrong, but they did that very, very well. And that's one reason why they had a better understanding of their constituents or those who are going to vote for them or likely going to vote for them than anyone else. The second part is, which has become more amplified today, is what you do with that information and that insight, right? That's when you start targeting. And most often, as we've seen in the US, clearly, you get targeted with fake news. You get targeted with fake news about Hillary Clinton. You get targeted about fake news about Trump, which says obviously that Trump's a great guy. He was blessed by the Pope. Hillary Clinton is a witch. I mean, all kinds of things. And we are seeing the equivalent of that happening in India as well. But it's still relatively in its early days.
Well, Govind, give us some examples of the equivalent of that in India.
Forgive me for interrupting you. Plus fake news play is only now beginning to blow out. So that's one part. The third part is really to do with, can I be brainwashed? I think it's a very, very simple and straightforward answer. It's yes. Because social media consumes our lives. You will know, and I will know, as I'm sure most panelists will accept, that when someone sends WhatsApp forward with something as bizarre as saying, oh, vitamin A can cure cancer, you will most likely believe it. Or even if you don't believe it, subliminally you think that, oh, maybe it's possible, and forward it to 20 more friends of yours. or family members, right? So inadvertently or advertently, you're playing a part in that information dissemination by putting that stamp of approval on that piece of information or data. And that's really where we start entering the whole realm of fake news, which gets amplified and really tough or difficult when it becomes a political contest. But on a daily basis, there is fake news being disseminated on products, on services, between rivals of, let's say, political rivals, all kinds of rivals, between countries. And that is something that we have to be really, really careful about and start be watching out for in coming days.
Well, I want to put this out on that note, and that's so important that Govind said that not only are we each playing a part in the cycle of fake news, every time you forward something that is fake, you are playing a part in brainwashing other citizens. And it may be about, for as long as it's about vitamin A or whether or not you should drink milk, that might not really hurt someone. But when it becomes political, then you can cause serious damage to the country. I want to put this out as an example of how some of these things are done. And this is a widely published, widely written about example. February 2018, Paresh Rawal, an MP from Ahmedabad, accidentally tweeted out a Google document with instructions to make something trend. It was hashtag Duty Congress on social networking sites. He deleted the tweet after some time, but that document, of course, we all know once you put something on the internet, it doesn't get deleted. And it very clearly said that, listen, you have to tweet it out, friends, at this time with this hashtag, put it out at this point. It was instructions on tweeting, copy-pasting and tweeting something, and he made a mistake and he put out that instruction completely. I want to bring in at this point Vineet Goenka of the BJP. Mr. Goenka, how often do political parties do things like this, where you put out an instruction to all followers and say, let's make this trend at this time of the day, let's actually put this out, and is it always true?
Okay, before I answer your query, can I take 30 seconds to explain there are 5 stakeholders in the entire process of social media, what I understand. There is people, process, technology, there is legal aspect and morality into this. Now when you violate the morality, then there is one kind of breach. When you violate the legality, then there is another kind of violation. Now if you are asking your followers or you are asking your cadre to come together to voice something, it is moral, also legal. Because you can always tell your cadres and always tell your karyakartas, come on, this is the agenda which we want to highlight. Do spend some time on highlighting this particular agenda. If this is purely to voice a concern, if it is purely to oppose somebody, it is okay. If it is to manipulate somebody, then it is an illegal act, also an immoral act. I hope I have answered you. So there are 5 stakeholders.
So you're saying it does happen. You're saying it does happen and you don't believe there's anything wrong with it. Vineet Goenka, you're saying that the trends we see on Twitter and on Facebook are not real. They're engineered by people in IT media cells. And it's not about which party. All parties are doing it. All political parties have IT cells right now. You're saying you don't see anything wrong with it.
Can I elaborate my answer?
Yes, please, go ahead.
No. As I said, it is wrong if you are trying to manipulate it, if you are trying to create an impression which is not correct about somebody. For example, if Facebook has done something and I would like to voice it out and I ask my friends to voice it out, then it is not illegal, neither it is immoral. But if you have not done anything and I try to say something about Miss Faye which is not correct, then it is an illegal activity. It is an immoral activity.
Disconnect.
Can you give me your audio, please? Because I can't hear you.
Yes, we can all hear you. Please go on.
Phone disconnect ho gaya.
If somebody in the studio is listening.
Okay. I'm going to go. Ritesh, you heard that? And I just want to point out off this Duty Congress trend, and we're having some audio issues with our guests, but the second paragraph of this says, the party will go to any level to spread lies about the FRDI bill to scare people about banks, maliciously claiming they did not meet Pakistanis during the Gujarat election, which they did, and they did more. It's time to expose them. Now, this doesn't sound like a news article, but it is being portrayed as a news article, and it is being pushed out with an agenda. Absolutely. This is the fear. The fact that something that looks like news will be sent to you, it's not really news, it's engineered to brainwash you. These are lies to to convince you about one thing or the other. That's the fear here.
Yeah, so these are these are doctored news. I mean, completely doctored, photoshopped, and they will just keep sending it to you. Now, Vinny ji is saying it's done by the Karyakartas and all. That is absolutely right. But what happens to all those particular profiles, Jai Hindustan, or, you know, I am for BJP and this, or I am for Congress and other things. And this keeps spewing venom on the entire social media, this thing. I'm not talking particularly Facebook. Yes, the other panelist was right. It is just not only Facebook that brainwashes you. It's WhatsApp, Twitter. It could be anything. So these are all fake news. People really have to go and check the facts, whether is this true or not.
You know, I want to bring in right now Mukesh Sharma, and this is really important. Mukesh Sharma actually created a trend and a tweet for us. He manufactured one just to illustrate what this is like. Mukesh, and you know, the viewers, there's a reason why I keep coming back to this. There's a reason why it is so important. Now, if I were to take a piece of information that said mangoes are fantastic, and I made it trend. Mangoes are fantastic, and I made it trend. It doesn't hurt anybody, really. Some people might disagree that mangoes are not fantastic, and that's okay. Some people might get convinced that mangoes are fantastic, and that's possibly also okay. But when I tweak and when I convince you that there are members of another community that are out to get you, there are members of another community that are out to kill you, there are members of another community that are out to hurt your children, then we are causing serious, serious harm to our country, and that is why we need to be vigilant. Mukesh Sharma, tell me how you made something trend, and how easy is it to convince people on the internet of lies and brainwash them?
So first of all, I would like to start with that social media per se, or any digital media, is basically a knife. It completely depends upon who basically is holding the knife. It can be a vegetable cutter who would just cut vegetables, of course. It can be a terrorist who would cut people. So it completely is dependent upon the intentions of the person, whoever is basically doing whatever. So now coming back to your point, as you mentioned, mangoes are not going to affect someone, but creating a persona or creating a perception regarding a party, regarding an organization, regarding an individual is definitely going to affect someone, at least that individual, either positively or negatively. That is all right. So coming back to the another point that you mentioned, how easy it is to manufacture that. So it's quite easy to manufacture that. I proved the same thing sometime earlier today. So the tweet that we are seeing in front of us on screen right now, it has suddenly increased over 1,000 now. So, and all of them are saying yes, no, they're all saying no. That is what has happened. And how can something like that happen? All manipulation, all influencing. So that is how it is so easy to basically get something done.
Well, I understand we have Vineet Goenka and Shama Mohammed back with us again. I'm going to bring them back in. Vineet Goenka, you were telling us how you believe influencing and pushing an agenda on Twitter, pretending to make a fake trend a real trend, is okay in your book. Please explain to me how. How is that okay? And let me read out from Paresh Rawal's leaked tweet where he said, the party will go to any level to spread lies, maliciously claiming they did not meet with Pakistanis during the elections, the Gujarat elections, which they did, and more. Is there proof to this? Is this news? Is this something that we should be making trend? Can you back this as factual? You said as long as it's factual, it's okay. Can you back this as factual when you put it out?
So let me once again tell, because by that time the audio was out. So if the content is correct, if the intention is correct, then it is not illegal, not immoral. If somebody is trying to manipulate it, prove something which is wrong to be a correct thing, then it is a thing which is falls under the immoral and illegal activity. Now let me take an example. You have put a hashtag on your screen, India brainwash. Are you trying to manipulate it or push it out? You're just trying to voice it out. It's a democracy, right? You're trying to say that today's the hashtag is India brainwash. Now people may write it on that. Once they write it on that, you cannot be blamed for pushing the people. So it's a democracy. Let them people do what they want to do. Now content does not have any religion. Content does not have any caste. Content does not have any political sides. Contents are generated by individuals and they're responsible for that. If it is done with malicious intentions, if it's done with illegally, then it is wrong. That's what my saying is.
Right. Abhimanyu will respond. Abhimanyu, go ahead.
he made a point saying that if you have a hashtag, are you trying to manipulate? Yes, if you have hired 1,000 fake accounts to retweet that and agree with your predetermined opinion, then yes, it is manipulation. So the point here is not about shutting down social media or acting against free expression or free speech. The point was the modus operandi with which it is done. It's no longer a knife, in fact, as one of the other panelists said. A knife can stab one person at a time. A terrorist can kill might be 5, 6, 10 with a knife. This is like a nuclear bomb, because one person you can, the scale at which you can, execute fake news is suddenly exponential over here. So the problem is that, okay, you have a voice, you have an opinion, you talk about your karyakartas. In the real world, 1,000 karyakartas have to show up with their face, put their skin in the game, maybe get arrested if they're spreading, say, communal hatred. On the internet, you can do it with trolls, with fake accounts, thousands of people essentially being controlled by one computer or one Twitter account. So that is manipulation. Nobody has an issue with creating hashtags or, getting your genuine karyakartas to talk about an agenda. The issue is with thousands and thousands of fake accounts, which are not genuine karyakartas or voters or individuals who have the right for free expression. And then those people giving you a layer of culpable deniability, saying that, no, we don't know who's abusing journalists and who's abusing intellectuals online. These are people we don't associate with. But you're following many of them. Some of your top leaders are following these guys, and they're saying it very proudly in their bios. So this is where, the fine line comes. That suddenly you have this massive army of fake accounts that is pushing your agenda, and that's what's, getting things to trend. Nobody has any issues with
let me pull up,
genuine
on
expression.
that note, let me pull up this next study, and this is again widely circulated. The number of fake accounts that most of our leaders have, whether it is the Prime Minister or Rahul Gandhi, it'll pop up on your screen right now. 60% of their followers are fake followers, bot followers, robot followers. Do you want to explain to us what a bot fake follower is?
So here what happens is...
The highest here is, incidentally, Rahul Gandhi at 68%, 6.2 million followers, fake.
Fake followers. So yeah, so here we are having either fake followers or there are the machines who are... So these are called as the bots. So instead, the short for a robo, basically. So what these are doing, if you see certain Facebook or Twitter, Twitter accounts also, you'll see, okay, Shaila 12345 and this. So these are randomly generated as such. And all they do is just go and retweet, or they retweet a particular message of a particular profile, or they just go and like simply, or they will go and report it as an abuse also. So, and then there are manual people also. I mean, there are people also. So these are the people, they're working in agencies there, and it starts with a big agency going down to smaller, and it goes to the rural agencies also. I mean, at rural places also, they tell you,
So
okay.
People being paid.
People are being paid.
Like a job.
It's like a job. We'll pay you 500 rupees a day. We'll pay you 1,000 rupees a day. All you have to do in a particular day, you have to make so many tweets. You have to make so many posts. So there are videos about this, people confessing also. It's there on YouTube also. People can search about it also, and it's not to one particular political party, as I'm saying.
Absolutely.
The key
And
point here,
I want to make it very clear. It's not one political party. Every political party has an IT cell. Every political party has some version of this or the other. Abhimanyu, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Faye, the critical part here is that the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or even the Google, Snapchats of the world, have no incentive to shut down fake followers of these fake metrics, because that allows them to show, wow, we have 100 million people on our platform. That allows them to tell advertisers, see, 10 million people like this post. So actually the system is not incentivizing anybody to shut this stuff down. Govind is running fact checker more out of, I don't know, public service as a journalist. I don't see him making too much money on valuation with that kind of a service. But the problem is that there's absolutely no incentive economically in this whole internet economy to shut down fake followers.
Let me bring in
Even the marketing person
Govind
who's spending on advertising is happy to show his board that, see, I have 10 million followers.
Right, let me bring in Govind here. Govind, I want to take you back to Paresh Rawal's leaked tweet where he said, this party is maliciously claiming that they did not meet Pakistanis during the Gujarat elections, while they did, and more. In your fact check, did you find this to be true? Because I'm coming back to what Vineet Goenka said, that as long as it's true and well-intentioned, you're not brainwashing.
I don't know about this specific case, but I think there are a couple of larger points. I think we started out by asking the question on whether we as individuals are sacrificing our privacy. Have we given up our lives to social media platforms? And I think we seem to have concluded that the answer to that is yes. The second question is, okay, once having done that, what's really happening with that information? Now, whether it's happening on Twitter, where actually Twitter is a far more open platform in that sense, as opposed to Facebook, where at least on the face of it, things are closed. These platforms, you already know what's happening or how it's going to get used, or at least some of us know how it's going to be used. We know the good, the bad, and the ugly, or at least we're beginning to get to know what the ugly is. I think the question to ask really, whether it's some Paresh Rawal tweeting something or someone else tweeting something, is how do we prevent this in future? How can I change the nature of my contract with a social media platform on which I am placing large amounts of information about myself, my family, images, my past, my history, my best, happiest moments, my sad moments, and then how do I ensure that it remains in a little cube or a little universe that I feel secure and protected about? I think that's the most important question to ask, because if you're not able to answer that question, then all of this is an outcome of the failure of our inability to pose that question. Everything that people are doing, whether they're creating bot armies, whether it's on bot armies on Facebook, bot armies on Twitter, using Google to do create false searches, all of that. I mean,
yes.
Technology is a wonderful thing. I mean, there are people who will always find quicker uses of technology and how to beat it than you think. I mean, the porn industry has figured out ways to use the internet much faster than anyone else. Why? Because there's an incentive to do so. So I think you need to go back to the core question and then focus on that. If you do that, then I think we'll have a solution to this problem.
Right, let me bring in Shama Mohammed. Shama Mohammed, the accusation up until now has been very clearly that the Congress, specifically as a party, has been indulging in this sort of thing, has particularly had dealings with the company in question that is currently under investigation in America. And today the IT minister making a statement saying the Congress has not come and made a statement, and their silence can be read very clearly. Does the Congress have a media cell?
Yeah,
yes. Does the Congress have dealings with the company in question? And have you at any point used such Facebook data to target people?
I have waited more than half an hour. Your show is on. I've been patiently listening to the rest, so you have to give me a few seconds at least to complete what I have to say. Now, you have to understand that yesterday we found out that 39 Indians were killed in Iraq. And those 39 Indians, the families of those 39 Indians got to know on television. They did not get to know in person. To top it all that, all these 3 years, the foreign minister has been telling, they're still alive, they're still alive. Instead of saying, we don't know if they are alive or dead. That she never said. Including Mr. Singh said, they're still alive. And then how do they get to know? On television. So this is completely being, wait a minute, let me get to my point, completely being insensitive. Then Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad comes out blaming the opposition party on sort of the Cambridge Analytica nexus, blaming the opposition party where the vice president of OBI, which is the sister company in India, says very clearly on its LinkedIn profile that we, the Bharatiya Janata Party, has used our information and data to win the 2014 elections, to get 272 plus seats, he says clearly. Then they have also used our data. Their Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Delhi cells have also used our data to influence voters. He clearly says that, the sister company of Cambridge Analytics. Now, my question to the Bharatiya Janata Party and to Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is, if you think the Congress party has used these data, which we have not used, Mr. Praveen Chakravarti, the head of data cell, has said that we have never used to influence voters, then please show proof. Come out with proof. Don't keep speaking things. Bhashans don't give you anything. You need to give us proof. He says, he comes out saying, and all the proof is against them. Even Mr. Tyagi, who heads OBI, says that in 2010, JDU and BJP used it to win the 2010 Bihar elections. So where is the Congress party involved here? And he says we will do a full-fledged investigation. We want to ask Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is to come out with proof and do not keep talking. Where is the proof that the Congress party has used? These are just diversionary tactics. They are involved. They have used it in 2014 and they tell us that we are going to use it for 2019. So they have committed the crime already. of using it, and the Vice President of OBI has come out and said that, in fact, and even Mr. Tyagi, who heads it. So where is the Congress Party's involvement over here? And one other thing, one panelist said about followers. You know that one of Gauri Lankesh, Modi follows a person who said that Gauri Lankesh died, I can't use that particular word, I would put dog's death because she deserves it. And this particular person is followed by Mr. Modi. Modi follows a lot of hate mongers. So what is that about? So, I mean, you were discussing many things over here. You were just discussing bots, you were discussing followers. So let me ask the Bharatiya Janata Party, let me ask Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad to come out with proof.
Vineet Goenka, respond. Vineet Goenka.
Yeah. So, Faye, I will leave the 39 Indians part because that's not a contest of today's discussion. She can go and talk whatever she wants to talk. To answer it very clearly, there were Karyakartas and there were citizens who were supporting us. Yesterday on your channel itself, I said citizens pushed the Bharatiya Janata Party on the #1 in social media in 2013-2014. And that's how the voters turned out and the voters elected Mr. Modi. When they were behind in people, they were behind in process, they took the advantage of technology. They hired this kind of dubious organizations. In fact, if you read the print, Rahul Gandhi himself says about hiring data analytical tools. Now, it's what has been mentioned there. Praveen Chakrabarti has to complain what he has done with data analytics tools. So that is their problem. Now, the whole idea about using these kind of tools to try to get some kind of fake followers, some kind of fake mileage will not help them because this is now in the open area. As far as the number of fake follower goes, fake, if you run this on Mirror Now's handle or your own handle, there may be a number of fake followers who are there. They may not be invited by you. They may be by themselves they were coming there. So any individual who has fake followers, he may be part of the crime, but maybe he is a victim of the crime. So we'll have to distinguish two parts, victim of the crime and a part of the crime. As far as Bharatiya Janata Party goes, we had people with us, be the Karyakarta, be the citizens.
No,
we had the process. We used the process
We've
very
just had experts tell us that most of these are bots. We found out that these trends are programs that copy paste. What normal people are you talking about?
So here Bharatiya Janata Party does not have to do that because we have people with us. Whereas BJP always said data sovereignty is the rule. BJP always talked about data privilege.
Why don't you answer that? Mr. Goenka, you need to answer what Himanshu Sharma said and what Mr. Tyagi says. They clearly say that you're involved. We have given data to you to influence elections. Why are you not answering that question? You're going on the technicalities. Nobody in India wants to listen to technicalities.
I want you both to stop for a second. 1 second. And on your screen, viewers, 1 second. Full frame. On your screen, Vineet Goenka and Shama Mohammed. On your screen is the home page of the website you all are both fighting about. It says very clearly, our clients are the BJP, the Congress and the Janata Dal United, the GDU along with Airtel and ICICI Bank.
Give us the proof. Tell us to
I can say
we would like all the proof.
Solid
That's what
certain
you're saying.
degree of confidence.
That this website is lying.
Not a single Bharatiya Janata Party leader has ever used technological support. We have fantastic people support, we have genuine voters and that's how we have been coming in power. This is Congress has to answer that. Why they have to appoint an analytical wing? Why do they have to appoint Praveen Chakrabarti? Why do they have to go to this kind of organizations?
Faye, can I please
yeah,
come
Govind,
in?
please. Govind,
it's data.
Ma'am,
It's
it has been
data.
under investigation. You have to answer that.
I need to rebut to this. I need to rebut to this, ma'am.
No, one second. Let Govind answer. Let Govind answer. Shama, you can respond to both. One second. Let Govind make a point, Shama, and then you can respond to both of them.
Yeah.
Let Govind make his point, you respond to both of them. Govind, go ahead.
Faye, I think we are entering the bizarre territory now. You know, if these tools were so great and the Congress was using it in 2014 or wherever, they should have won the elections. They did not. Not only did they not win, they lost and lost badly at that. So the BJP won. Secondly, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. There is nothing wrong in using technology and data mining. Please remember, until this whole scandal erupted, it was considered a great thing that people were using technology to understand who their real voter was and therefore reach positive messaging to him. And to some extent, I do believe that is what the BJP did in 2014. It's only post 2014 that people realized that in addition to the positive messaging, you can also do the negative messaging about your rivals or your political competitors, whoever they might be, and that is something that we should worry about. So I think let's assume that Cambridge Analytica work with everyone. I think if you know, it's a zero-sum game. If he's working with everyone and he's giving the same tools to everyone and the same ability
Ms.
to
Faye,
data mine and so on, then something else has to make a party win.
Yes.
It cannot be, so technology alone cannot make you win. Secondly, I think the BJP should not go back from this. They did use a lot of technology in 2014. I don't know if it was Cambridge Analytica or someone else. They did use, for which a lot of people gave them due credit, because it was felt that they looked at voter lists, they looked at a whole lot of constituency data. They tried to find out who were the voters who could go with them and then try to target them. I mean, if you look at the whole idea of the 272.com, it was only, I mean, the back end of that was sheer technology and computing power and people working and doing processing and Excel sheets and stuff like that. So it's been done. So it's very difficult to run away with that. I think what you should be concerned is when Facebook specifically talked about or admitted to sharing data about people, about 50 million people, personal data, and which Cambridge Analytica used to actually start targeting to influence people to vote for Donald Trump and so on. So I think that's what the issue is. The fact that data was used is not the issue in itself. The fact that it was shared wrongly, it was accessed wrongly, shared wrongly, and then obviously used for the purposes it was. So in general, please understand, technology will be used. More of it is going to be used. We need to talk about how do we use it in a way that the outcome of that is not used in a way that it destabilizes either the society or some political system.
Yes. Shama Muhammad, respond please. Shama Muhammad.
Can I come in? Yeah, so what I'm trying to say, Faye, he has not answered to, even on the Cambridge Analytica's website, it clearly says that in 2010 elections helped BJP and JDU to win the election. So, and he has not answered about those things. There's never, see, our photo, there is a photo of the hand or the palm on the website, but the details when you go into the website talks about the Bharatiya Janata Party winning in 2014, how it has influenced Bharatiya Janata Party along with JDU winning in 2010. So these are the points, and those answers he doesn't give you, Mr. Goenka. He only goes on the technicalities of it. Of course, they have won the elections by influencing. And today, another thing has happened.
Can I answer her, ma'am?
Let me finish asking the question.
You will only answer when I finish asking the question. This is an important question.
And one more point. And today the PMO has asked for the data of 15 lakh NCC cadets is being sent to PMO. Why should we have why should the PMO have the data of NCC cadets? Because he says he wants to talk to them. So he can bring them into a conference hall and have a television there and talk to them. You know, they can do a lot of talking. Why data of 15 lakh NCC cadets have to go to the PMO? What are they going to do? Are they going to influence them for 2019? I mean, this is shocking revelation.
I want to bring in Mr. Srinivas Kodali also. Srinivas, thank you for listening very patiently. And this is the important part, Srinivas. Brainwashing. Are we brainwashing? And politicians are going to deny it and they're going to go back and forth. But is it happening, Srinivas? Should we be worried about everything we read?
Brainwashing is done by Bharatiya Janata Party.
So, Faye, I'm going to be a bit apolitical here and talk about harms. So the important question is, if both the parties or neither of the parties, if at all they are doing it or not doing it, that's not the question. The question is it harming us in any way? So I'd like to cite one example, the Blue Whale Challenge. Nobody knows who trended it. Nobody knows if it exists. But everybody discussed it. Everybody discussed it in social media. Everybody discussed it in the newspapers. It was even discussed in the Supreme Court. The court had to give directions to Google and Twitter asking them to do something about the Blue Whale Challenge. But it turns out that there is nothing called the Blue Whale Challenge. If you actually read the parliamentary responses made by the government on questions what the government was doing about this thing, they realized that the committee found out there was no Blue Whale Challenge. But it was being shared across the entire social media, across the entire internet, that there is this Blue Whale Challenge which is killing our kids. So this is actually harmful. Like if you're trying to spread news, and if people are trying to, young kids who are probably depressed are actually trying to find what this Blue Whale Challenge is, and if they are actually trying to harm themselves, there is actual harm which is being caused through social media and through the internet. While stating that, I'd like to also point out use cases where the social media was used to save lives. If you look at during the Chennai floods, it was Twitter which came out together and started something called the Chennai Rain.
So we have no problem with Twitter saving lives. We have no problem with Twitter saving lives. I have another question for Vineet Goenka, who has his hand up. Vineet Goenka, there is an individual who was the director of OBI, which is the intelligence company right now in question. in India, who on his LinkedIn account bragged about working with the BJP and successfully winning 4 elections, managed 4 election campaigns successfully for the ruling party BJP, achieved the target of mission 272 plus by managing the call center management project, profiling each and every volunteer supporter who had extended his support to get involved with our mission 272 by giving missed calls, SMS, WhatsApp on our single nationwide toll-free number, confidentially managing the database to be provided constituency-wise to the BJP candidate as an additional support for national elections and state elections in Haryana, Maharashtra, Jharkhand and Delhi. Your response, Mr. Goenka?
Can I answer? Yeah. Yeah. So to answer Ms. Sama Mohammed also and to you, I was national co-convener till 2014. So I was involved in every decision and discussion which happened there and there. Total degree of confidence. Not a single agency was hired. How do you harness? As I said, people were there, processes were there. Technology was not harnessed. Reason because we had people with us. Now, Ms. Sama Mohammed has to tell whether they have not done. And she has to answer, why did Rahul Gandhi say we will use analytical tools? Why did he hire Praveen?
We have not done it.
B,
you are lying.
The bigger
Mr.
issue
Goenka,
here is
you're
data
lying.
sovereignty. It's not about some data being doing social media.
You have to stop lying to the people of this nation. That's important.
What can I say to you? Do you think I would lie? Why would I lie to you?
Of course you're lying. Of course
I was not
we
a
all
national
know
co-convener.
this.
So Vinay Goenka, your response is that the person on the screen, this person's LinkedIn profile is a complete lie.
Mr. Modi has been lying since 2014. Head of the party is lying. Of course, the rest of you are lying. Lying is what the Bharatiya Janata Party has been doing
I don't
for
want
the
to
last
fall down to this level which you are doing right now.
I mean, this
You
conversation.
want me to revert to her? I can do that.
No, hang on. I'm going to stop you both here because this is not the level of the conversation we're having right now. Ritesh Bhatia, is it true? Would you as a cybersecurity expert who's looked at fake profiles, 1 second, and Ritesh has looked at, and there are 2 sides to this. 1 second, Vinay Goenka, there are sides to this. One side is actually retweeting and making something trend. The other side is trolling.
Telling me to be silent.
One second. The other, see, I'm not going to get into a battle of who's lying. You're lying, I'm lying, you're lying, I'm lying. We're not in 4th standard. And really, we need to increase the quality of the conversation. Ritesh Bhatia, trolling.
No, I'm not.
Do you believe, and Vinay Goenka tells us that not a single agency has been hired. Shama Mohammed tells us that we don't do brainwashing, only the BJP does brainwashing. They're busy blaming each other. Do you believe either of these justifications? Why not? Listen to Ritesh Bhatia. Go ahead.
No, the thing is,
they were in power that time. They were
Ritesh
busy
Bhatia.
doing
We have
scams.
not won any election.
They were doing busy scams. They were not allowing their prime minister.
Okay, hang on. You don't have the time for this.
Because
Ritesh
they never allowed
Bhatia.
their
Ritesh
prime
Bhatia.
minister.
Scam.
Madam Soumya
Let's
was
talk
trying to
about
become
Nirav
super
Modi's
prime
scam.
minister. We have faith in our prime minister.
Parliament
He
is
gives
not
guidance.
I want
which
to
is
listen.
beneficial to the
Bhatia,
country.
I want to listen to Ritesh Bhatia, please.
So, you know, Miss Sama,
okay.
Ritesh Bhatia.
So Faye, we are talking about trolling, we are talking about these fake profiles doing many other malicious activities also. It's completely true because, I've been solving cases for many, as a cybercrime investigator, I get many such cases, and there are hundreds of people like these who are just trolling on fake identities. Now, we have observed that either they are trolling the celebrities or the politicians as such. So yes, the answer to your question is a complete yes right now, that there are these fake identities which do the job of trolling and which also do the job of promoting hatred, reposting fake news and many more things.
Well, there are agencies that do this job, and somehow
Absolutely.
both the BJP and the Congress at this point claiming that they've never hired an agency. Abhimanyu Radhakrishnan, do you believe that they've never hired an agency?
No, Congress has hired, madam.
No, that's not very believable. But let's just differentiate 2 things. As Govind said earlier, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
One at a time, please.
Project
One at a time. I can't
272
understand you if you talk at the same time. My question was to Abhimanyu. Let's hear Abhimanyu's answer first. Abhimanyu, go ahead.
Okay. So Faye, in some ways, Mr. Goenka is right that Project 272 was a different kettle of fish. It was an opt-in project. I did it myself just to see what they're doing, and they were basically asking me even for my voter ID, which I was giving voluntarily so that they knew which constituency I was in. They could update me as to who are their candidates there, where is the nearest booth. It was actually, as Govind says, a very good case study of how to use technology to engage genuine voters who are parting with information voluntarily, knowing very well that you're collecting it specifically so that you could give them information. So that's a legitimate use of technology. In fact, if it turns out to be true that they hire that particular agency for it, it's a good advertisement both for the BJP and that agency. That is an example of perfectly legitimate use of technology. Everything is opt-in. The person is parting with the information voluntarily. It's being used for what they've asked for it for. That's fine. The tricky bit is all the stuff that happens on Twitter and the misinformation, which I would argue that they are guilty of. Whether they've done it through an agency or not, it doesn't really matter, because you can do a lot of this stuff just through crowdsourcing, and that is the part which the spokesperson from the Congress mentioned, which is following accounts. You can't be held responsible for the people who follow you. That I agree, but you can definitely be held responsible for the people you follow. That's an opt-in that you have to take. Correct. So if you're following somebody who's spewing venom about a deceased journalist, that is definitely not acceptable. So let's not confuse two things. It is possible that the BJP has done some very legitimate, good uses of technology which are opt-in and actually are great examples of how you should be using technology in elections, with fully opt-in consensual parting of data from voters. And there are other examples of outright manipulation where you're not disclosing who the source is behind this information, who is spreading it. It's fake accounts, and it's people who you can very easily publicly disassociate yourself with, but at the back end it leaks that they are acting in concert with people who are not too many degrees of separation from your core team. So, these are two separate issues, and we need to say that, okay, A is allowed and B is definitely a no-no.
Right. I want to go back to Shama Mohammed. When I asked Shama Mohammed this question, she dodged it and she didn't answer the question. I'm going to ask it again. Shama Mohammed, does the Congress party have any ties at all with Cambridge Analytica or its Indian arm OBI? Yes or no?
Yes, we do not have any ties with Cambridge Analytica or its Indian arm. See, like you said, data collection, he says, what does Mr. Chakravarti do? Of course, there is no harm in collecting data. There's nothing wrong in it. It's about influencing voters by spewing venom. And that's what the Bharatiya Janata Party does. In fact, the thing about Pakistan that we are with during the election of Gujarat, what did Mr. Modi say? And your there's a particular person from, I think, Fact Checker you mentioned. He said that Mr. Manmohan Singh, ex-Army General Kapoor, and ex-Vice President are sitting together plotting against him. And these are sedition charges against them. Of course, that's a lie. So these are things. And they used a lot of these lies to influence voters in 2014. And that's what they used Cambridge Analytica as well as OBI. And they've taken data, stolen data from Facebook. And this is very wrong. We have never used Cambridge Analytica or, for that matter, OBI. And we've clearly said that. Otherwise, we would have won the 2014 election, Faye. Who won the 2014 elections? Not us. And clearly, Mr. Tyagi, who is in alliance with them in Bihar, the head of OBI, says that they have used them in 2010 to win the BJP. JDU won the elections in Bihar in 2010, and they've used OBI as well as Cambridge Analytica. So why is Mr. Goenka not having a word with Mr. Tyagi then and pointing fingers? And we are not involved here. Who brought it out? Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad brought it out. And he brought it out, just pointing fingers at the Congress party without any proof. He just was speaking. Show us the proof that we have used these, we have influenced voters. That's what I'm asking. Now, after 2 weeks, Faye, the story is not going to be there. You have to take it out and tell Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad to show the proof and continue this investigation. All right,
Govind wants to come in.
Sure he will not.
Govind, go ahead, please.
Yeah. No, Faye, I think, see, let's look at it from the other side, right? I think I know there seems to be LinkedIn profiles which say that Cambridge Analytica work with BJP, Congress. It doesn't matter who all they claim they work with. Success has many fathers, as we all know. So obviously, if BJP won and has been on a winning streak, Cambridge Analytica would go out. It's part of any sales pitch. When someone wins an election like this, 100 people will stand up and say, I was responsible for that. So I think we need to get into a little bit of nuts and bolts onto this matter and do some investigating and see, okay, was Cambridge Analytica hired? Was it hired by someone close to BJP? Because the party can always say that, yes, no, I didn't work with them. Was it therefore hired by someone close to BJP or affiliated with BJP? And if so, did they do anything wrong? I think that's still the primary question, because to me, it's not clear whether something was done wrong in 2014. Yes, something wrong happened in the 2016 elections in the United States, but I mean, the both don't follow from each other.
Right, and I think the question that's being asked right now is
So a question, let me, Faye, one question.
Okay.
So what is Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad pointing us to? What has the Congress party done? So why did he bring it out, pointing fingers at the Congress party? What have we done? That is what I'm trying to ask in this debate. Where is Congress party's involvement? And please show the proof. That's what we need to know.
Vineet Goenka, very quickly.
He doesn't have an answer.
No, let him answer. Let him answer.
Congress party has hired Ms.
Show
Shama
the
Mohammed.
proof.
I can always match your voice.
I am
But please
Dr.
understand,
Shama Mohammed and
you have
not Miss.
very
Let me
less
correct you for
information.
once and for all.
You're not the part of decision making in your party.
You are?
Yeah. So, you don't have information.
I'm a
All
spokesperson.
right, hang on. You are both
All the
wasting my time
information
and
which
my
happens.
viewers' time. I'm going to take a
The
break
party
here
is doing
because
this,
you all are,
and
neither
that's
of
why
you
the
are
ministers
answering the
came on
question.
record.
What is this bickering? This is my name, that is my name, you're telling
I've
lies, you're not
answered
telling
it,
lies.
Faye.
Please,
I've answered
elevate the
question.
quality
I'm
of the
asking him.
discussion.
Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad is the one who pointed fingers. He has to give us the answers. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad took our name, the Congress party. Where is the proof? That's what I'm asking on your channel today.
Vineet Goenka, do you want to
He has to
respond
give
to
us
that?
the
Hear the
proof, the
answer.
evidence.
Do you have a patience to hear, ma'am? I want to answer. How do I answer, Faye? How do I answer?
Vineet
Can I
Goenka,
answer?
give us an answer
Well, I have to
now.
ask the
Where
Prime
is the
Minister to keep
proof?
quiet. So your Congress party has been accused. The minister will never come on record till he has a proof. Please understand that. Minister has done that because he has sufficient proof. And let me ask you, if you have not done that, the ma'am may not be part of the decision making there. She may not be having information which she cannot understand. The entire writing on data analyticals started with Congress participating in this. BJP does not have to do that because we have followers, we have people with us. That's how we have been winning elections. I think that suffices. And in case you feel that whatever the minister has said wrong, please challenge that. There are various forums.
Yeah, we're
House is
challenging
there where
it.
your member of parliaments can challenge it. There is other way. So
But we can't. The House is not functioning. It's a long
Please
jam.
understand.
The House, you're not
You have
allowing
done
the House to
mistake,
function.
admit that. And you try to reach us. You are much behind us
You
now.
are not allowing the House to function. 12 days.
Okay,
the
hang on.
Parliament
We
doesn't
don't have time
function.
for this. I have to
Whose
take a
job
very
is it
quick
for the
break. I have to
Parliament
take a very quick
function?
break. But when we come back
He
from the
doesn't have
break,
an answer for
hang on, Shama Mohammed. When we come back from the break, our reporters have picked up the phone and called agencies posing to be people in political parties, asking for them to help with elections. We will play out the clip on the other side of this break as we find out how social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter is being used, Instagram, if you will believe, is being used to manipulate us, to tell us what we should think and how we should think, to change our minds about situations. Remember, viewers, you will get articles on Facebook and on WhatsApp that you think is true, but what it is are engineered lies that are being targeted and sent to you because they now know who you are, where you live, how old you are, where you shop, and what kind of lies should be sent to you in order to brainwash you. After the break, we'll play out that clip. Don't go anywhere.